What do you think made you stand out is probably the most asked question that I got after I posted my how I got my internship at Google videos. So in this video, I'll be showing you guys a resume that I submitted when I applied to the internship last year. Hopefully with me showing my resume, it gives you some ideas on how to format your resume and also gives you some more insight on what I did throughout college has helped me in the recruiting process. I'll also be sharing some actionable resume tips throughout my own resume walkthrough. So I actually have my resume right in front of me on my laptop, so I'm just gonna kind of go through what I did. So basically here is a screenshot of my resume. In terms of the format, I use a pretty standard black and white format, so I didn't use any graphics or colors, and I actually think that this format, even though it is very traditional, is probably the most straightforward way of making your resume, because a lot of times when you're applying to internships, your resumes are usually sometimes scanned by a system that goes through the keywords, and a lot of times when the resume is in a simple traditional format, it's much easier for anyone to parse through. Also, to add for the header, if you have a LinkedIn or a personal website portfolio, you should definitely include those links. So my first section is the education section. I'd say definitely if you're still a student, put this on the very top in terms of whether or not you should add your GPA. And I'd say definitely if your GPA is above a 3.5, you should put it on your resume because that's a really good grade point average. If it's between 3.0 to 3.5, I think that's definitely up to you whether or not you want to include it. And if it's below a 3.0, I'd probably consider not adding to it. In terms of your major, does major matter if you're applying to business related positions? I usually don't think it matters too much because I've definitely seen a lot of people within my other internships who are doing the business internships, but they're majoring in something else like political science, something in social sciences, and just not related to quote-unquote business. It's probably really effective if you just choose a major that you enjoy doing but you know you can do well in. Do something you enjoy, you're probably more likely to do better in it, so that's just my 2 cents. Also, if you have any space on your resume, you should definitely include relevant coursework. So for me personally, I included a lot of the coursework I took within my business school since it was pretty relevant to the positions I was applying to. And I also had a certificate in entrepreneurship and technology that also included in this education section. So now on to the work experience section. Especially during my freshman and sophomore years, I just always thought it was really difficult to get work experience because a lot of times they wanted juniors or people with more experience. So the question was, how do you get experience if you don't have experience? Which is like this weird circle that you're going through. I actually found out about this platform called Acadium, which is the sponsor of today's video. Acadium is a platform that offers free marketing courses and hands-on experience through marketing apprenticeships. It's definitely a great way to build experience and your skill sets. At the end of the apprenticeship, you get a marketing certification, and you also have the option to become a paid freelancer. There is no cost in participating in this apprenticeship program, and they also have a lot of different marketing course topics such as SEO, digital marketing, content marketing, and a lot more. And honestly, I think it would have been so helpful if I found out about this earlier in my recruiting journey because it would have helped a lot in building my own experience. I'll definitely recommend it if you're looking for experience and you don't have too much under your belt yet. So if you're interested, make sure to check out the description for the link where you can sign up and start learning today. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about my work experience section and what I did. Before I applied to my internships in my junior year, the summer before, I did an internship at a tech startup. So basically I was the growth strategy intern. I remember a lot of it was gaining new users since the startup was a relatively new business and they wanted more users on their platform. So doing A/B testing, email marketing, stuff like that. And I remember getting this internship super close to the summer because this was when COVID first started, and I actually had another internship lined up that was canceled. So I remember applying for this in May through a code application, and somehow it worked out. So I definitely recommend cold applying to a lot of stuff because I feel like when it comes to gaining work experience or finding internships, so much of it is a numbers game and stuff you can't control. And in my other internship, this is something that I did in freshman year. This is an internship at a private small consulting firm. I think I also cold emailed the owner to talk about this internship opportunity since I saw the company on LinkedIn somewhere, but it was basically cold applying. So again, the strategy does work. In terms of the internship itself, it was a lot content and marketing and some other small things for clients and stuff like that. I feel like this experience was more of me just to get my foot in the door in the industry and gaining some experience. So that's kind of how I would categorize this internship. The next thing on my work experience is sort of my online website where I sold a lot of crafts and plushies. This is something that I've done when I was really young because I was always into art and stuff like that. So I just started making stuff and selling it online. And this has been pretty much a strong talking point for me because it was something that I created myself and was able to show metrics and results for. I think this was really impactful, and I think a lot of my interviewers really liked seeing my own project that I created. So I think if you don't have a lot of experience and you have a certain type of hobby, I think creating something out of that is also super valuable and you can gain so many new skills. I'd say something that I would definitely emphasize when writing your experiences down in the written format is using the Google XYZ format, which is highly searchable. Definitely recommend looking that up. But basically you're writing in a way in which you show the specific action leading to what you did and the impact. And the impact piece is super important because you want to include a lot of metrics and numbers showing the results of your work and that you're not just listing really vague responsibilities. And the next section on my resume is leadership experience and activities. I think if you're just starting out in college and you don't have much real world quote-unquote experience, clubs and student organizations are a great way to sort of gain that experience because a lot of these organizations have projects that you can work on. So you can start building up that experience and on your resume as well. This can help a lot when you're applying to jobs and internships. So in terms of what I did, I was a part of microfinance at Berkeley, which is basically a small business consulting club at UC Berkeley where we help with like small business consulting and marketing and stuff like that. I was the VP of marketing and was on it since my sophomore year of college. And another organization that I was a part of since my freshman year was the Daily Californian, which is our school's newspaper. I was on the marketing team, so coming up with new product ideas, launches, stuff like that. I'd say if you can, try to get leadership positions in at least 1 or 2 orgs. So when you apply to internships and jobs, people can see that you're able to lead others and take initiative. The last part of my leadership activity section was the case competition I did at Capital One in Plano, Texas. Basically, they flew us out to Texas for several days to do a case competition and to learn more about the offices and the company. So that was a really fun experience and not something that I was expecting to do in my sophomore year. I applied to a lot of different exploratory programs, which are basically like freshman and sophomore programs that you can apply to and learn more about how work is like, company culture, and stuff like that. So I would highly recommend applying to those opportunities if you're still an underclassman in college. And I think they're super fun and you can gain a lot of experiences that you can talk about interviews and put in your resume and all that. And the last section of my resume is skills and interests. So I have computer, skills, languages, and interests. So for computer, I just listed some of the softwares that I use. So I have Google Suite, Adobe, Microsoft Office, Python, and Tableau. So I definitely think a lot of these are more basic softwares that most people know how to use, but I think if you're applying to a lot of these business or marketing types of positions, they'd like to see some sort of proficiency with these programs. So I'll definitely include any sort of online softwares that you know. In terms of skills, I listed stuff like product marketing, digital marketing, etc. This is because I was applying for the APMM internship at Google, which they really emphasize interest in marketing. So I kind of just put a lot of different keywords into this one line, which I definitely think showed my interest in marketing. I also included keywords throughout the resume, so I think that's helped as well. So I just was trying to do as much as I can in this section. Languages, I put English and Chinese. I think putting your interests actually show to the interviewers you have different types of interests in your free time, and this can definitely be helpful during the interviews when you and your interviewer can connect over something if they have a similar interest. I think this is a really helpful section to add at the end of your resume. I think it's really hard to answer the question, what makes your resume stand out? Because I feel like when you look at it, it's like the entire sum of all my experiences and not one particular thing that I can point out to. But I hope some of my tips were helpful and that looking at my resume gave you some insight on how to format or any other ideas for yourself. So thanks so much for watching. I have other videos related to college and career tips, so make sure to check out those, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Let me know what you think below, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!